Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to talk about how coaching differs from friendship. Now, sometimes people wonder, is a coach just paying for someone to be your best friend? What does a coach really do that a good, close friend of yours couldn't do themselves? So I'm going to break down for you what the key distinctions are and how different a coaching relationship is from a friend relationship. And this builds off of a few other episodes I've done on this podcast way back. I think it was episode 2. I talked about coaching versus therapy. And then a bit later on the podcast, I talked about coaching versus consulting. All right, so let's go into this. Firstly, I want you to know big picture here that a coaching relationship is a professional relationship in which the coach is supporting the client in achieving certain goals. A friend relationship, a friendship, is not a professional relationship. So one of the key differences between a friendship and a coach relationship is that a coach offers an objective perspective. So even though you might have a close friend in your life, maybe you even have friends who you know offer good guidance for you or good advice, they ultimately are biased because they want to preserve your friendship. Like, no matter what, they want to preserve the friendship. They want you to like them. They want you to be happy and comfortable. A coach is not someone that is there to keep their clients happy and comfortable. In fact, I would say a great coach often does the opposite. They create a container for their clients to be uncomfortable and not have the most pleasant emotions in order to achieve their goals. So this is one of the biggest distinctions. A friend is going to offer you advice that is often based off of their personal experiences. A coach doesn't rely on giving advice in order to help their clients. A coach is trained to understand how to listen at a deep level to recognize what's blocking someone, and also what questions will support the client in discovering their own insights and generating awareness to help them move forward. This is another big distinction. A coach is a trained professional. They are trained in understanding different tools that can support someone in navigating conflict and challenge in their life. Whereas a friend doesn't have to undergo any formal training or certification or coaching methodologies in order to be a friend, right? They are providing their support to you based off of personal experiences and insights. A coach, again, is a trained professional. They have certain skills and tools that will help their clients move forward. Another big difference between a coach and a friend is a coach holds their client responsible and accountable. A friend often does not. Okay, so if a friend is talking with you and you're talking about your goals and aspirations or your desires with a friend, they're not going to hold you accountable to that. You can keep bringing it up day in and day out. The friend's probably not going to hold you accountable because that would be weird. If a friend was asking you, okay, well, what's your timeline for getting that done? By when do you plan to make that happen? It is part of a coach's responsibility to hold their clients accountable. This is why in the academy, we teach our coaches how to incorporate the skill of accountability with their clients, how to challenge their clients with various challenging questions, how to incorporate high-level listening with their clients, so they also can recognize the ways in which their clients might be stuck or blocked and help them overcome that. One of the other big distinctions between coaching and friendship is confidentiality. Now, you probably have a degree of trust in hoping that your friends will not share private or personal information. Hopefully, that is respected and honored. However, with a coach-client relationship, there are strict confidentiality guidelines that coaches abide to ensure that their clients' information remains private and secure. As close of a friend as you may have, that friend might share personal details more freely with others. And because you know that with a coach, your information is confidential, then your clients will also feel more safe to open up and talk about more sensitive or vulnerable topics that they might not share with even a close friend. So these are some of the key differences. I also want to share with you, what is the difference between being a friend and being friendly? Because you might hear what I'm sharing and think, oh, okay, so I'm not someone's friend, so I'm just going to be their mean coach. This is not the case. You can be a friendly coach, but you are not your client's friend. Okay. So sometimes I notice this in the academy, especially when coaches are getting started and we're listening to their coaching and we're giving them feedback, a newer coach might show up more as the friend versus as the coach. Okay, they are wanting to have their client's approval. They are wanting to make their client happy. They are wanting to keep their clients comfortable. They are another big way in which you show up as a friend instead of the coach is you are jumping on into your client's story and automatically being on their side instead of objectively questioning your client's perception of reality. So here's an example of this. Let's say that you have a client and they show up to your session. They say that they're starting to date someone, but they're experiencing some challenges because they notice that after a few months of dating this person, that the person they're dating seems to need alone time, and they seem to sometimes withdraw. And your client is thinking that this means that the person must be not disinterested and distant. So if you are showing up with friend energy, you're trying to be the friend, a friend might say something like, oh, well, that person's clearly toxic. Just dump him and move on. You deserve so much better. Now, how often have you heard advice like that, or you've heard others give advice like that? It's like that word toxic gets thrown around all the time. Like the second that someone does something that could be even mildly triggering, they're just labeled as toxic. A coach is not going to jump in the box with the client and automatically go on their side and just agree with every single interpretation that your client is having. This also doesn't mean that you need to oppose everything that your client is sharing, but it is essential that you question what your client is sharing. You question what interpretations they're making and conclusions they're coming to and assumptions that they're having about others. You question various thoughts that they might be having or rules that could be holding them back. You're observing the client's reality to see what else could be true, what else could be possible. Even if this means that your client is uncomfortable going there, because that's why they're hiring you. They want to overcome challenges that they're continuing to face. A lot of times people struggle because all they do is they just rely on various friendships who are just giving them the same advice, which is often biased. It's often very shallow because it doesn't require any deeper thought. And this reinforces behavior from the client, the other person. This just reinforces behavior that keeps them stuck and facing the same problems. Instead, if they worked with a coach They have a professional who is objective, and they're able to question the client's interpretation, the client's way of thinking. So they start to have new awareness. So in that example that I shared earlier, if you had a client talk about a person they're dating who is needing alone time and is withdrawing, instead of showing up as the friend and just agreeing with your client's interpretation and assumptions, jumping in the box with them just so they feel comfortable and that's so you feel liked by the client, you might acknowledge what the client is sharing, but then allow them to get curious about what else could be happening or what else could be true. You might say, okay, I hear that you're concerned when you notice that your partner needs their alone time. When your partner says they need alone time, what are you making that mean? And the client might say, well, I'm making it mean that they're not into me. And this is where the real coaching role comes out, because you might follow up with a question like, well, how true is that really, that if your partner says they want alone time, it means that they're not interested in you? How true is that? What else could be true? What would be possible if you had a different interpretation for what could be going on? And this is what starts to lead to a true coaching relationship of depth and clarity. This is why people get so much more when they have a challenge and they bring it to a coach versus bringing it to a friend. Now, listen, I love my friends. I have an amazing group of friends. But it's interesting because when I became a coach and I also immersed myself in a coach community, I realized like up until that point in my life, I would bring personal challenges to my friends. And I was very limited to what their advice was. And also I realize now that whatever they were sharing with me was biased because they wanted me to feel like I was the right person and that I was doing the right thing. And then when I immersed myself in a coach community and I started to work with coaches, I started to hire coaches, that's when I realized all of the blind spots that I had in my life. And I recognized that I'm not going to go to my friends to talk about my drama and stress and challenges in my life anymore. It would just serve me so much better to talk with a professional coach who has proven tools that can help me move forward. And now my relationships with my friends have improved because when I have personal issues in my life, I don't bring those personal issues to my friends. I bring them to a coach. I bring them to a trained professional. And all that energy that I would be putting, hoping my friends could help me resolve challenges, I now can put on just enjoying our friendship and having great memories together and laugh and be silly with each other and not indulging in drama or having them join my pity party. Because let's be honest, sometimes when we talk with a friend about our challenges, even if they're very self-aware, even if they know you very well, it becomes a pity party. They lack the depth and the structure that is needed in order to address the underlying challenges that you might be having. Now, even if you are friends with someone who is a trained coach, there's also a bias there, right? Because they are primarily showing up to you as a friend. They might have coach tendencies or coaching skill set, but they're ultimately a friend to you. This is why we teach our coaches in our ethics training inside the academy about having an awareness around conflict of interest, right? If a friend asks you to coach them because they're all excited that you're a coach now, well, that's really a judgment call that you need to make. How close of a friend is this? How well are you going to be able to be objectively present as their coach and not have that bias being their friend and knowing about their history, knowing about their personality? A powerful coach is one who is objective and able to listen to what the client is saying, not jump in the story with them or agree with them, but really explore the client's way of thinking without bias. So, in summary, many differences between a coach and a friend. A coach has an objective perspective, whereas a friend has bias. A coach is a trained professional with expertise and proven tools, whereas a friend doesn't have those tools. They don't have coaching skills to help you grow and develop. Their support is based on their own personal experience and insights. A friend also is not going to hold you accountable, whereas a coach is trained to hold someone accountable and responsible to make sure they're taking actions to move them forward in their goals. A friend may share personal details about you with others, hopefully not, but they might. Whereas a coach, they adhere to strict confidentiality guidelines. They keep your information and your client's information private. Remember, you can be a friendly coach, but you are not getting paid to be your client's friend. So in your sessions, if you notice that once your client starts sharing and you feel tempted to jump on their side or communicate or respond in how you would with a friend, catch yourself and make sure that you are in the coach role, especially if you're someone who has a lot of friends and it's easy for you to get along with people. This is going to be one of your growth opportunities. You want to make sure that you show up to your sessions, leaving the friend energy aside. You can be friendly, you can be kind, but you must be willing to ask the hard-hitting questions that are going to challenge your clients to grow. You must be willing to set aside your bias in order to really hold space for that client to recognize their blind spots. Okay? It is not your goal as a coach to make your clients happy and to make your clients like you. As a friend, of course, by all means, you want your friends to like you. You want to preserve the friendship. You want to say whatever you need to say to have that solidarity with your friend. However, your job as a coach is not for your client to like you. It's for your client to get results. And this often means that they will be uncomfortable. They sometimes might not like you in the process, but they will be grateful to you because that's how you'll see that they will start to transform as a person. So that's what I got in this episode on coaching versus friendship. Before you go, I'm going to share with you a snippet from an interview I had with one of our coaches in the academy so you can hear about how they became successful as a coach and learn from their journey and apply it to yourself. So thanks for listening to this episode, and I will see you in the next one.
My name is Grant Holford. I am the Western Regional Sales Manager for a Swedish tooling organization. I got into a leadership position about 10 years ago and was introduced to coaching through, HR and kind of was assigned a coach that helped me with my employees. From that, it sparked an interest in me of coaching and helping blocks with my employees for higher performance. That set me down the road to where I found Thriving Coach Academy. I had a couple of concerns. One was a time commitment because of my full-time work. It's one of those things where you just need to jump in and go. If you want something bad enough, if you're passionate about it, and this is your calling, I really kind of just said, okay, if this is my calling, I need to do it. And it doesn't matter how much time I'm going to do it. I tend to do a lot of research when I'm making big decisions in my life. So I spent quite a bit of time looking at different organizations. I started by going through the ICF and looking at accredited organizations. I went through each one and kind of laid out, okay, here's the strengths and weaknesses, and this is what I was looking for. What I found with Thriving was it was a well-rounded program that wasn't just segmented into one thing. It had a really robust program, and it seemed to me to be the one organization that had the most to offer. Before I joined Thriving, I've been coaching for several years, or at least I thought I was coaching. What I was doing really was mentoring. So when I got into the academy and I started to learn all the techniques and the specialties, it completely changed my world and how I interact with my employees, also with my coworkers, family, everyone. So to be honest, my mind was blown when I really learned the power of coaching and what it could mean to my life. It's significant. With Thriving, this is not a passive program where you can sit back and observe. You're invited to get engaged, get involved, and participate in the process of learning with others. The staff at Thriving Coach Academy is bar none the best training organization that I've been through, and has been very caring, engaged. They honestly want the best for you, and by doing that, they're going to challenge you. And it's fun. It's certainly a very introspective kind of process where you're going to learn a lot about yourself. I can't thank enough of the staff at Thriving for what they've given me in this gift. So as a sales leader, I've had an interest in coaching, and going through this program, I'm finding that my team is much more engaged and their performance is much more elevated. This is something that not only is working in my organization, but is something that my company wants to do throughout. I've also found that coaching for me is giving me a path moving forward where I can grow as an individual. I can grow within this organization. I also have a future of being a coach full time within this company, or the possibility of expanding my own personal business in the future as a side hustle or as a career. So the personal changes that I've recognized is that my listening skills and connection with people is through the roof. I mean, I feel like I am more connected with everyone that I come in contact with on a daily basis. So that has really been transformational for me. The patience I have with others and the questions that I'm asking seem to be more meaningful, and that generates more connections and just better relations with everyone. I've seen it in my work life with my employees and people that I work with in my organization. I felt that on a personal level with my wife, and our life together is we've never been more connected to even my family and friends. You cannot not afford to do it. It's something that will be certainly meaningful to you in your life, give you a career that will be fulfilling, and not just a career, but a calling.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.